What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fantastic day? We're going to be waiting for the Fed decision. It's coming in 10 minutes. Right now, we currently have not much going on. Bitcoin's down 0.1%. Fartcoin's down 1.7% or 1.15%. We got hype down a little bit, 1.5%. This would have been the actual good place to look for the short on that one. The last time I looked at it, it's in an area where we're going to be looking for the short. So whether or not you wait for the number to come out and then look for the short or just short it here is up to you. I already have the short position on up here. I have a short on Pingu. I've already taken profits on that earlier this morning. Short on W from yesterday. Ended up taking profits on that this morning. And then this was the trade from yesterday. So we're still sitting in that. That's basically what we got going on for the day. Took a few scalps on Fartcoin early this morning. 3 of them total. 2 of them were successful. 1 was not. And then the long-term short trade on USD/JPY obviously is not working out yet today because the dollar is very, very strong. But we've done something, and that is we've liquidated June's high on the DXY, which is important because technically speaking, it really doesn't need to go any higher than that if it does want to pull back. So here's the DXY on the monthly time frame. You got to bounce off of a long-term support. Support came from 2011. Huge support zone, long term, right? So that's why you're getting a bounce from here. Short traders were taking profits going into that level. You have new traders adding on fresh long positions down here at this level. Here's the thing. Rate decision, lower rate decision is typically going to be looked at as a bearish dollar play. So this bounce ahead of a non-existent rate cut today means the dollar can continue to go higher, right? That's why you're seeing such an explosive move this week coming into the rate decision. So this area right here could be resistance for the near term for a few days to weeks. We'll see if the dollar wants to rotate from this level lower, whether we get a rate cut or not. We're not expecting a rate cut. The anticipation is nothing is going to happen today. So that's where we stand. There is an old July 2023 swing low. That's going to be this swing low right there. It's the lowest swing in that monthly consolidation. Right here. Bing. So that's why we're seeing just a little bit of near-term resistance come into play up here. 5 minutes until the rate decision. And then there will be a meeting, but no dot plot. So I don't know if I'll even listen to the meeting. I always read them afterwards. You can read every word Jerome Powell says in those press conferences on the FOMC website. You can read every word that he says if you want to. I like doing it that way myself, because generally if I'm live streaming while doing it, I can listen to him, but I'm also paying attention to all these other things at the same time. And I am looking for a new position. I do want to capitalize on this near-term volatility that we're going to see. As far as the S&P 500, This is what we currently have on it. Today it has done nothing. And that's what we expected coming into today. We expected to do absolutely nada. Yesterday we were looking for it to swing through here and take out Thursday's low. It didn't quite get down there. But I ended up getting a long scalp here when we traded down into this area yesterday for 10 points. And I haven't traded it today. So we'll see what it wants to do here. Clearly everything is structured super bullish. The only thing that's kind of got me a little bit perplexed today is the VIX is up. So here's your VIX. It's up. It's up around yesterday. So here's yesterday's range. You're trading inside of it as of right now. So if this is going to pull back from this area, then we would have a bullish bias S&Ps or ES. And then the rate decision will just come up on this calendar here. We got the it's the Fed rate decision right here. It should be 4.5%. That's what we're looking for. If it comes in lower than that, then the market, then we're going to close those shorts out on the alts. Because if they come out and shock the world today with a rate cut, then you're going to see the ES and Bitcoin fly more than likely. VIX will come off pretty hard, and I would assume the DXY and all them other things would also come off, right? USD JPY. So yeah. The one thing that I'm still concerned about on the USD JPY, even though April's high is invalidation of the trade that's going to be up here at 150.491. That's the inval of the long-term short for trend continuation. It's just a trade idea. Obviously, there's no way to predict that this trend will work out. It could trade sideways and up for the rest of the year. If it is going to trend back to the downside, then we want to partake in it in this area. But that short trade, in my opinion, is invalidated above the April high, because the April high is the range that you're trading in right now. This is April's candle. So we've been in a 3-month range, 4-month range, counting April. So that's why getting above April would invalidate the short thesis. But you could see you liquidated all that you need to liquidate. But when we put in this fresh price action last week, that's what it looks like it's trying to liquidate today. If it is trying to liquidate, it could break out and continue higher, clearly. So if it's going to liquidate and then run lower, we need a spike up into 149, 187. And if you're shorting it here right now, thinking this is going to be a bearish engulfing at the close today, then just give it room. That's a wide spread. You're looking at over a 50 pip stop if you do that. 51 pips. So, yeah, very, very wide stop. So we got 2 o'clock. Let's see what we get. It looks like it's selling off. I don't have the number. It's still just a blank. But the reaction is a little bit bearish here. Yeah. What are we doing on the alts? Remember, W is the one that's setting up for a potential fresh short. No rate decision. It's nothing. It's a nothing burger. 4.5%. So this would be where you'd be looking for your short. If you think it's going to roll over. Alt season is not over yet. In terms of alt season as a whole, you're pulling back into the 21 exponential. So this could be an area where it finds support and starts to rotate back to the upside. There are a few on-chain metrics that are suggesting That alt season is probably over though. So that's why we're looking at some shorts on some of these, more of the meme alts, the ones that don't really have a use case. Those are the ones that we're really focused on shorting. You've lost your 21 on the daily here. You've lost July's range, but you're coming into support here. Monthly support, as well as the weekly 21 exponential. So Farcoin might not be a short today. If I'm going to short one of them, I like W for the short. So I'm going to lower that position on W. I'm going to add to the short right here, right now. It's going to bring my cost basis down. And it brought my cost basis down real low. Cost basis. Oh, you saw that. So good. You saw it. My short was top ticked this wick. So by me adding to the position, it brought the cost basis all the way down to this wick high. So naturally, I want to see it roll over. We'll see if that happens. I like the formation that we have here for the short. The reason I like the fresh short today here right now was basically it's testing the 100 at EMA. So this is the short. Obviously the June open is downside target for WUSD. This one is not a meme token, but the setup was here. That's why we took it, right? The setup is here. None of the other ones had a good setup today. I mean, this is at the lows. Hype is like chopping around today, but not a real good setup. W had the setup. It's actually testing the EMA. So we'll see if it fails here. I'm going to set a stop loss at my entry so that way I cannot lose a single penny on the trade. I'm going to just set my stop right here on the entry. Going to exit the entire position at 0% loss. And there it is. So that is situated. All the other shorts are situated with stops. And they've all already been, profits have already been taken. So if they do roll over, then I'll just add to the gains I've already made today. And I made roughly about $600 today, this morning. So we're doing okay. We're in great shape actually for the press conference. Now, whatever happens here right now can obviously be rejected or reversed during the press conference if he says something or acts more hawkish than dovish. Then we would assume the short would be the right direction. But if he comes out super dovish, then all of these shorts can get stopped out. But someone asked in a Discord if I thought the USD JPY trade was still in effect or still a short. As long as you're under the April high, you can look for a short anywhere, right? Anywhere from where we are right now up to the April high. I just don't think, like, if it breaks out above last week's high, it's not last week's high, it's the week previous. It's the previous week's high. Above that, there really is no point. You see what I'm saying? Like, so if you get upside continuation from that point, then the next likely target would be April's high, because you've already liquidated both June and May. So this run up is just to liquidate the July high. And if you get upside continuation from the liquidation above July's high, then April's high becomes the target. And that is the bearish and val spot. So I'm not going to take a short on it unless it's staying under the July high. And July ends Friday. All right. So that's what we got. That's what we're working with. This is going to be hawkish meeting. I can't imagine less. Why would it be hawkish, DC? I'm curious to wonder why you think it would be a hawkish meeting, since we are in a dovish rate or a dovish Fed environment. Like, the Fed is in a rate easing cycle, not a rate hiking cycle. They are cutting interest rates. They just haven't cut in a long time because they were allowing time to pass to see if the inflation numbers continue to go down. They're not going to drop the rates hard because the job numbers is good. We're not in a recession, right? But they do not. Let me repeat this, because there are a few people out there screaming that the Fed should hike interest rates. That means they would have to do a complete 180-degree turn on their monetary policy. They're not going to do that. They are pricing in a rate cut for September. We will likely get a rate cut if everything stays the way it is right now. For the Fed to reverse policy, something bad would have to happen. And the way that they have their policy structured right now, it is a rate lowering environment. So even if something bad happens and causes an unemployment rate spike, then they're already poised to drop interest rates to catch any of that unemployment spike, right? So literally the Fed is in the best possible position for bullish markets. Literally, like, they're in a really great position. Donald Trump wants them to drop rates, but the Fed is not going to listen to Donald Trump. The Fed is not mandated by presidential policy. They have a job to do, and their job is stable jobs and stable prices. That's what their job is. And right now prices are stable. Maybe not on alts, but definitely on risk markets. NASDAQ, S&P, Dow Jones, and Russell. Let's see what the RUT's doing, or the IWM, because I figured a pause would maybe keep this pulling back, and that's not what we're getting here. So yesterday it did close under the yearly opening range, but gapped up this morning. So it looks like support did ultimately come in there. We were going to wait to see if it broke down under this broadening wedge formation and then look to short it. So since that didn't happen, the structure is still bullish. So this would be a buy the dip opportunity on the IWM. Right? As long as you're closing 30-minute candles above support, which is 223.78, this candle's close, it's a buying opportunity. You're looking for the uptrend to continue. It's basing above resistance, which is good. Basing under resistance is where we have to be a little bit cautious. Basing above resistance looks good. Alts are pushing up as we speak, so it looks like it wants to stop me out. So we're getting a pop on the Japanese yen. Over here is the Japanese yen. So you can see this morning it had a really big bearish move. That's what pushed the USD JPY up. But you're seeing that support come in, and you're seeing it get a little bounce. This is still in the context of a downtrend, right? So this pop will most likely get met with sell side. But we need the yen to be a little bit stronger than the dollar. We don't need the yen to be strong. We just need it to be stronger than the dollar for the USD JPY short to work out. And it may not work out at all. Let's go see what hype is doing. It's just a trade idea. Remember, you still have to manage your risk. It's not a guaranteed to work out type of thing. Oh yeah, we got that. So PCE will be tomorrow, which will be inflation data. That will be important moving forward for rate cuts. And then jobs number on Friday. So big data this week. I like the hype structure for continuation lower. But I think it's going to have a lot to do with whatever, like if Bitcoin starts to get bullish, then we might see alts pop. And Farcoin has been decimated over the last few days. So, I mean, we were not expecting this thing to do much down here, and it hasn't done much down here. Actually, this morning I posted a tweet where I was actually looking for a bullish bounce. And that's what we got. That's where I made my money this morning, looking for that bullish bounce. It broke out of a little trend line that I had drawn on the chart. It like put in this little bear trap down here. It broke out above it, then came back in and retested it. Now it did throw out a fake out close to the downside right here. If you've been paying attention to or if you've been in the live streams lately, you've been noticing I've been telling you guys to watch those lower time frame closes to kind of help you get in or get out of trades. If you're long at the lows, then clearly you don't want to see lower closes like this. But if you just drop down one more time frame to the 1 minute, you can see right here when we did come back in for that retest this morning, you did not make a lower 1 minute close. So if you got long when I posted that trade idea in both the Discord and on Twitter, if you got long at that point, you were not under any threat at all to close that trade. You should still be holding that baby long. I closed it once we pushed up into this monthly support, the whole position, because everything has more of a bearish bias right now for the near term. So I just went ahead and exited the whole position because I nailed the absolute lows and rode it up to here. That was a fabulous scalp. It was a beautiful scalp. It was a 3.5% gain. So I just closed the whole position. I have 3 open shorts. You know what I mean? So yeah, I closed it. But if you took it, kudos. You're doing good and you were never under threat. Now the 5-minute chart did put in a lower close, but then 1 5-minute candle later, it showed you that was a potential trap, right? As it immediately left the area. Look at the wick on this opening candle. This is your bullish candle. So if you were going to see downside continuation from this lower close, you would have had at least a deeper wick. You don't have even a deeper wick. So literally it means this candle closed, and as soon as it closed, you had a tick under, and then it went straight up for the rest of the 5-minute period. It never went under that point. So the long trade was never threatened. I entered it all the way over here. So it was more threatening to me because where I entered, right? I should have exited here. So when we went back up in there again, the second time, I just went ahead and exited it. But my stop loss was never under threat. My stop loss was under the low, which is good. That's all we're looking for on a market reversal scalp. That's it. That's literally all we were looking for. And then here's this actual setup. So you can see right when I took the trade this morning, I took the trade right on that red candle's close. I waited for it to count down to 0, and then I hit the buy button. Boom. Stop under the low of day. And that's this candle. Right in here. So yeah, we'll see what it does from this point moving on. The speech is in 15 minutes. Make that cheddar, says Lifestyle Media. We do it, bro. That's what we do. We make that cheddar. So yen is reversing that upside wick. Good afternoon, says Tom. What's up, Tom? It's been a minute. Mags, you in Discord on me. Hawkish relative, no cuts on the table for 25. Look at the dot plots. Yeah, okay. I've looked at the dot plots and they go lower. You got to look at the majority of the dot plots, not the ones that are hawkish. See, the Feds, you got some Fed members that are hawks and some Fed members that are doves. Look at the actual rate decision Fed Watch tool. It's very rarely wrong because it's taking on positioning. That's what it's going by. It's going by market participants positioning. And market participants are positioning for a rate cut in September. A 25 basis point cut in September. Now, that's about all you got for the rest of 2025, right? This current target range is 425, 450. This is 400, 425. That's a 25 basis point cut. 31% in October says we're down 375, 350. And then 43.7% say we will be in the target range of 375, 400 for the December Fed meeting. So it's not more than 50%, right? So one cut is being priced in right now. One more cut, not two, one. It doesn't mean it will happen, but that's how market participants are positioning. And they're, like I said, they are very rarely wrong. They have been wrong in the past, but it is very rare when they don't get it right. Now, the closer we get, we got to go through all of August first. You know what I'm saying? That number can change. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but I've seen the dot plot. It is very much dovish, not hawkish. It is dovish. They are not going to start hiking interest rates unless you get a massive hit on unemployment. And that is not being priced in. But you can do what you want to do. You can, of course, do what you want to do. If you think the Fed is hawkish and you want to short everything because the Fed is hawkish, then be my guest, right? I'm just here to give you my opinion. That is all. Not trying to force anybody's issue or, force the issue on anybody. I just want them to have the relevant data, the right data, not the wrong data. We've looked at ratios. We've looked at everything. Nobody is pricing in a recession. Nobody is pricing in higher inflation. The Fed has been restrictive. We can look at the Fed's. Here, let's just pull that number up, right? They've been restrictive. They've been restrictive for a long time. So we had one of the biggest rate hikes ever, right? One of the biggest ever to get that high inflation under control. And then we stayed in restrictive territory since July of 2023. We're in July 2025 right now. So we've been in restrictive territory for 2 solid years. That's why Donald Trump wants them to cut all the way down to 1. They will not do that. They might cut another 25 basis points this year, but they're not going to drop it down to 1. And the Fed and Powell has his job all the way up until what? Mid part of next year, I think, May or something like that. I don't think Trump will fire him. I think he'll just let him ride it out. That's why I think they'll cut. I know, I mean, the market's telling us they're going to cut. So I almost know they're going to cut. At least once. One more time this year. But the jobs number is going to be very important moving forward. Because if that job number spikes, then they'll have to cut faster and harder. Right? Is the cutting of interest rates is to handle a high unemployment number. And that's this number right here. So I'll go to the monthly chart. You can see we did at the very beginning of the year have a couple ticks up, but that number has since flatlined and pulled in a little bit. Anything under 4.6 is okay. The Fed is completely okay with a 4.6 and under. So being where we are and where it's been forever is this is not fearful at all. At all. Yep. It can spike based on tariffs or something else, some unforeseen something that happens in the future that we don't know about. If that happens, they're going to cut even more aggressively. But they're in a rate cutting regime, not a rate hiking regime. Just keep that in mind. They would basically have to come out, make a press conference and say, never mind, we did something, we did a no-no, so now we got to go back and make it even, make the Fed fund rate even more restrictive. That isn't going to happen. Not going to happen. So even if they don't cut, the market won't like them not cutting. But it's not going to cause a collapse. Yeah, a lot of people is on the offsides right now. I'm fairly confident recent economic data reduced cut probability. What recent economic data? I haven't read it. I haven't read anything that's relevant. Like, I'm not listening to talking heads on CNBC or anything like that. But I haven't read anything, and I stay up with this stuff. It's my job to know what the Fed's moves are going to be. I'll check it out, though. Well, yeah, that's his biggest problem, is he does not like to pull the trigger on anything, on cuts or hikes. He had to hike based on the fact that inflation went up to 9%. But inflation has been steadily trending lower ever since. So inflation is under control. We did have a slight little spike up, but you're still trending down on the year. There's your inflation rate on the CPI right here. It's trending down. There's your January right here. So you're trending lower this year, all year, on inflation. Had a couple ticks higher, but as long as you're under 3, you're still in good shape. There's your PCE. This is the number we're going to get tomorrow. We had a higher spike and then it dropped. But this pretty much stays relevant, or stays, bouncing around. And then they're looking for a 2% on this number. Not this number, but the year on year. This is month over month. All right, let's check the fart coin as it is bouncing. Well, it just still isn't doing anything. What's ES doing? Nothing really. Bitcoin had a deeper push. It's trying to bounce at that midpoint of last week's range. I don't know if it'll hold or not. It might. It's the level we were talking about yesterday. Your monthly midpoint is much lower. It's going to get you under last week's low. I would love to see last week's open hold, and that's pretty close to where we are right here. So here's last week's open, and then that week's midpoint right here. Now this is where we want to see it hold support. So if Bitcoin does hold support here and starts to rip, then some of these alts might rip with it. Like Bonk is struggling to break down here. It did break down. So any pushback up into the yearly opening range or 31.24, I'll be looking for fresh shorts on Bonk. But this is a midpoint, a monthly midpoint check of support. Seems to be holding. There's an absolute beautiful hold of support right there. You're not getting that real good bullish momentum from there, which would be more concerning for these bulls down here than it is for any shorts up here. Right? And what's dominance doing? Dominance is currently rolling over. Oh, it's like into a resistance level. That's what you rolled back off of. For alts to pump, we need dominance rolling over, not moving back up. Could it roll over here? Yep, it could. This dominance chart is plotted based on alts, like the whole big basket of alts. So whatever they do moves this ticker. Right? No one's shorting this. It's people getting long alts that made this roll over. So when you see it bouncing like this, that means you got profit taking happening on alts. Not all on-chain data says that the alt season is over. There's some data that suggests that the top might be in, but it's just a couple data points. I don't have that on-chain data, so I can't pull it up to show you. It doesn't really matter to me. I watch price. I don't really care about what on-chain says, but that stuff is relevant. But Bitcoin is literally perfectly structured to just rip for the rest of the year. With on-chain data, we have been seeing an inordinate amount, I can't even say that word, a large amount of profit taking through this period, and Bitcoin is still not dumping because all those profit takers those Bitcoins are getting bought right back up. Literally. Now, this thing is poised to take off. Again, there's no metric that says that we're in like really massive overbought levels. By trading sideways like that, it allows the momentum oscillators to cool off. So like even your weekly oscillators pulled back some here. Now, that is a bearish divergent print on the week. It's not the highs. Please don't look at higher highs and think you have bearish divergence. You do not. It's the closes that makes the pattern divergent, because this oscillator prints on the close. So since we have a higher close here and a lower low on the indicator, you do have bearish divergence on the weekly indicator. You have a higher close on price, a lower low on or a lower high on the indicator. That's your bearish divergence. I wouldn't short it based on that, but a lot of people do, right? A lot of people do. I think as long as you're holding the midpoint support, it's good. If you lose this, then the next place that you want to be watching to be a buyer is going to be that weekly low down here. Now, I don't know that you'll get all the way down there. I'm just saying, if you lose the relevant level of support, which is last week's open, then the next area to look will be last week's low, which is here. At that point, you would be a buyer if you break the low and trade back into the range. So if you break under it and get back above it and hold above it, then you would be a buyer. You don't buy it on the first punch through, because you can see here, this thing spent almost, I think it was like 14 hours at the previous week's low, which was there. So it can take a lot of time to build in support. So you don't want to just be a buyer when price trades into it for the very first time, because if it does, it's likely going to get a deeper stab just based on the fact that it's liquidating a lot of orders down here. But you can see how choppy it was down there. So that made the fresh weekly low. So that would be my next like real big level to watch to be a buyer, only if it loses these levels. It could find support at any one of these two levels. Last week's open or the 786. Either one of those two levels could find support. But I wouldn't be a buyer at them unless support was holding on a daily closing basis. My favorite level to buy would be down here, for sure. For sure. Let's pull up the Bitcoin liquidation levels and see what we got on a weekly basis here. A lot of stuff down there. Here's last week's low. So there's actually quite like a lot of dark space in between here. So that's thin liquidity. Thin liquidity. So it might not need to even push down into there, but if it does, it's got to get into here before I could be a buyer. I don't know that you'll get down there. It's just a wait and see at this moment. We're just waiting to see if everything's going to roll over here or not. Yes, this month alone, we saw a 15% reduction in cut probability in September. Either way. Well, yeah, we can chat after that September meeting. Like I said, dude, I am not a macro analyst. Let me just be clear about that. I'm just trying to help you guys stay on the right side of the Fed. I know how the Fed operates. They don't turn on a dime. They never turn on a dime. You even said it yourself. They need a lot of data to make decisions. So they're not going to make any hasty decisions at all, no matter what data they get on a 1 month basis. If they get multiple months of higher unemployment, then they'll start cutting hard. If they get multiple months of stagnant unemployment, then they will be more reluctant to cut, but still in a cutting cycle. They're still in a rate easing cycle. And that's all I'm saying, right? That's the bottom line. That's as far as I'm taking it. The market participants are pricing in a cut in September, but they could be wrong. But the Fed is in a rate easing cycle, not a hiking cycle. They're not going to hike. If they hike, I would be extremely shocked and baffled at the same time. If they hike, I'll give you a picture of my shocked and baffled face. How's that? Deal? We'll see. Hello, Mr. Heath. What's up, Ahmad? Definite no reason to hike right now. There are no reasons to hike. The only reason to hike is high inflation. That is the only reason to hike interest rates, is because of high inflation. They raise interest rates for high inflation. That's how they combat inflation, by raising interest rates. They lower interest rates when inflation is lower or trending lower, right? Once it's back at their 2% or around their 2% target, then they will ease monetary conditions. Now, their tool against high unemployment is to cut rates. So you have low inflation and low jobs or low unemployment. You're in an easing cycle. And that's the bottom line. No matter what, that's what you're in. I mean, the markets are at all-time highs, guys. All-time highs. But that's how the Fed fights. That's the only two tools they have, right? They can only control supply, not demand. They cut and they hike. That's all they do. All right. Moving off the Fed, I mean, we don't really give a shit. They didn't do anything today. So today, we're going to continue to trade what we've been doing here. We're going to continue to look for short opportunities on alts as long as Bitcoin dominance is moving up. And on the alts that have been getting raped, like absolutely smacked. So Fartcoin has given back all, not just some, all of July's bullish price action. It would not do that unless there was serious sellers in this. So if you just go look at Ethereum, for instance, just look at Ethereum, look at the difference here. This is the end of July. Today's the 30th. And you are at monthly highs. Go back to Fartcoin. You are red on the month. You have given back all of that bullish price action. When that happens, we take notice, right? And we've been short Fartcoin ever since it lost this stuff up here. We shorted it. That was a luck trade because we hadn't gotten the downside signal yet. It wasn't until we lost the midpoint of the monthly range where we knew we wanted to short. So then we shorted it again. Right? It was that simple. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. I'll be back. We'll do this again, right? But you can't do that with the likes of XRP even. You haven't lost that July midpoint yet. Now, XRP is showing signs of weakness for sure, as you have pulled back pretty deeply off of those highs. Pretty strong. But you didn't get any follow through. With Fartcoin, we got follow through. So we had a big down day, and then we got another big down day of follow through. So not only did the sellers take profits, but then when they seen just how aggressive profit taking was, you had more people come in the next day and say, I'm going to take profits too. You couple that with short traders like me and other professionals dumping onto it, that gave you that move. Literally. Like we smelled it out. We sniffed it out to perfection. You can't trade this any better. I caught this day, and this day. Literally caught almost the entire move. Didn't do it in one trade, but I caught every penny of that move to the downside. I even caught the long today. So you can't trade it any better. So this is different than what's transpiring in other markets, but this is a freaking meme coin. This doesn't have any monetary value. This hype does because it's an exchange and they do good. They make money. They're onboarding new users every day. They get paid by trading volumes. And they take those volumes profit. They take their trading volumes profit and they rebuy like a stock buyback program, right? They rebuy coins. So this has more bullish merit than say a Fartcoin or a Bonk or a Pepe or a Shiba Inu or a doge. You see what I'm saying? It's dangerous to be short hype. I am short hype. It's a very dangerous trade because at any moment you can get going again to the upside. Let's change this to pink so I know what I'm looking at. Pink is the monthly range. Ugh, it's so close to red. Here it is. So while we're closing dailies, we ain't closed today yet. But while we are closing dailies under the midpoint of July's range, that will bring in more than likely more sell side pressure because it's a short signal. It's a I smell blood in the water, time to jump on. It doesn't mean they will be right in the future. I'm just telling you what the signal is. This is a breakdown of a channel. It is a failure. Boom. You got bullish engulfing here. So if support was going to hold, we would have wanted to see it hold. It still might. It still might. This is an area of support here. It's a 4-hour support. You have not closed a 4-hour candle under this close. So support, check, hold, check, hold, check, hold, check, hold, check, hold. So it needs to hold if the bulls are going to try to run it back up. Now, if they do that today, if hype closes up in this area above 43,365, I will be a buyer on pullbacks because this will be a bear trap. This will be a bear trap at that point. And the last time hype put in a beautiful bear trap like this over here, you've seen what happened after. So if it does the same thing here as it did over here, my bias will shift back to bullish. Especially coming up on a new monthly open this Friday. Okay? So that's hype. That's the near term and the long term. Near term, I'm holding a short just to see if the sellers are here, if they're real and if they're legit. So I've already taken my money though. I can't lose money on the trade. I've already paid myself for taking the risk. But if I get downside continuation, I'm positioned perfectly for it. I'll show you. Here is the hype short right here. So we took this yesterday, right? I top ticked the wick. I took profits. Then I moved my stop to break even. Then when we got another push lower, when resistance held here, I added to the short. So I added to the short. So I got a normal size position again on it. But my stop is at break even, so I cannot lose money. I've already made $215 on this trade. So if I get downside continuation from here, then I am positioned perfectly to capture that. If it rejects here and closes back above 43,365 on a daily closing basis, that'll be right up in here, right? If it closes up in here today, then I will close this short, and then I will look to be a buyer on pullbacks into support. Because you will have been, at that point, you will have made a bear trap here. And I don't want to get caught in that. But Farcoin, short it till the wheels fall off. Bonk, I think Bonk is right now trying to hold that bullish midpoint on the month. You're under the yearly open though. So Bonk is no longer bullish on the year. It lost that. It had it and it held it for a long time, but it just lost it yesterday. So as of right now, you got people seeing this and they're saying, well, damn, if it can't even hold the yearly opening range, I should probably get out of this. That's going to cause a little bit more sell side activity. And then your sellers, your short traders, see this as a sign of weakness as well. Now, you don't have a full-on short signal yet because you're right at the midpoint of the July open. So you lose this, and then this thing will more than likely get hit hard. Now, there is news on bonk that is still out, so you have to be very careful and be very picky on your entry, because there is an ETF in the works for this asset. So if the SEC approves that ETF, then it can bounce right back up above that yearly open. Easily, very easily get back above that. So, but if they disapprove, if they don't give the approval, then you will give back most of these gains, more than likely. This thing got a lot of extra heat based on that ETF news, based on that, and alt season. So you had full on alt season and that ETF news to boot. That's why this is like one of the top 5 altcoin gainers for the last 30 days. Bonk is. Penguin is number 1. This is number 1 for the last 30 days. A day ago. Last 30 days. Penguin has made more than anybody. Then ETH, then Bonk. Something like that. You know what I mean? ETH's up there. Penguin's number 1. Then you got ETH, Bonk, and XRP, I think's in the mix. They were in the mix. But yeah, so Bonk and Penguin are my favorites for the bleeding action if we get the bleeding action. But notice how Penguin is still bullish on the year. Penguin is still well above the midpoint of the month. So Penguin is still structurally sound. It's still okay. You've not even lost bullish momentum yet. Anything above 60 is classified as real strong bullish momentum, but you are working on it. 21 exponential right here. So this is still very structurally bullish. Shorting this now is a very, it would be a lucky trade if you make money, right? It's just a luck trade. You have no reason to be short. You just are shorting it because you think it's going lower. That's it. There's no sell signal here. This is just a standard, arguably a double top, right? And a slight pullback, a 3-day pullback. This would be a bullish target if the bulls kick back in here. But if you start seeing more and more alts fall off, I would say the sellers are just going to come in and take over. All right, we're seeing USD JPY push up above those highs right now. Pushing up above those highs right now. Here's your USD JPY chart. There is that swing high. So if this is just a liquidation run, then we would want to see it start to get weak in this area. Right there. 149, 187. It does not look like that is happening yet. Bitcoin just took a dump too. This is Bitcoin. It's literally taking a dump as we speak. There goes the S&P. Rate decision speech has started. It's been going on for 20 minutes, so he said something they did not like as you are starting to dump here. So I don't know if this is going to fail or not. We'll see. What's our alts doing? Oh, they're doing good now. That one's doing good. Pingu, we couldn't add to the short because our entry is so close to near-term price. Remember, W is the one we added to. W is. I shorted W up here yesterday. So by adding to it this while we were live, it brought my cost basis down to here. So we want to see it start to take off to the downside so we can add to those already realized gains. If Bitcoin continues to push lower, then we should see these start to push lower as well. Good trading. Good trading. That was a fresh entry that was taken during the live stream. You could have shorted that with me. I don't know that it'll continue, but as long as Bitcoin loses this support zone, and if it gets any deeper downside push, it could reject here. That'll help our shorts if it gets a deeper push. So we'll see what it does. I'm gonna go ahead and take a 0.5% short on the USD JPY with a 25 pip stop loss. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and take the trade with a 0.5%. We want to go 0.5 here with a 25 pip stop loss. That's just to catch. I mean, if Bitcoin continues going down, this will probably keep going up. So I'll probably eat another stop. I've already eaten one stop on this. So if I eat another stop, I might have to squash the whole idea of looking for USD JPY shorts, or at least wait until we see like the yen get strong or the dollar get weak. Because the dollar is not weak. It's not weak at all right now. And to couple with that, you also have yen weakness. So not only are you seeing dollar strength here, you're also seeing yen weakness. Right here. Yen weakness. This is the Japanese yen futures. This is live data. So it's pushing down as dollar is pushing up. That's not good for shorts on USD JPY. Unless these things stop like right where they are. And I don't see any reason for the dollar to stop here. This was like as far as I needed to see it go. It's pushing well above that. Like hard. So this looks more than just a liquidation run. You are already above all these wicks. Just by getting above that white line, you took out June's high. So now you're looking to liquidate candles inside May's range. I don't know how far you'll get. On the weekly, you got to push all the way up to here. I don't know if we'll see that. Let me get this back to white as I'm back on the dark screen. So yeah, I mean that's a far push, especially after getting this run, but it can keep going, man. This was a big trend line. You got a lot of shorts covering here and a lot of new buyers buying it. You had an absolute flawless test of demand on a weekly basis. I actually thought it was going to pull back into here and roll over. That's not what it's done. It's actually made that the midpoint. So this is super bullish on the near term. So the Fed might have came out and acted hawkish during this meeting, since the dollar's pushing so strongly right now. That would be my conjecture, that they came out and said something the market didn't like. 5 minutes after the meeting started, boom. I will read it tonight or tomorrow and see what's what with the meeting. Yeah, there is no reason to cut yet. There really isn't. It's just to get out of restrictive territory to help productivity growth. That's what they need to grow. They're trying to get growth up, right? That's what they want. That's what the president wants. That's what the Fed wants. They want growth higher. So when you're at a restrictive rate, growth is not as easy to obtain. And they still are at a restrictive rate. I like that Powell stuck to his guns as well on top of the rock. I like that statement also. I don't want a Fed chair who is quick to make rational decisions. I don't like that. I don't want a Fed chair who is emotional, like a 2-year-old child either. I want someone to be data dependent, because as long as they are being data dependent, it makes my job easier to position myself. When they flip-flop all the time, it makes it very difficult for us as investors. So Chair Powell, whether you love him or hate him, has been a very market participant friendly Chair Powell, right? He's been real good for the markets for the majority of his time. When he first came in there back in 2017, there was a period where he was trying to hike a little too rapidly and he caused a scare. 2019 maybe. I said 17. It was during Christmas. It was right here. I have to go way back. It was right through here. No, what? I remember it being, here, right here. So this is when Chair Powell got a little bit too crazy on the rate hikes, and it caused a massive sell-off. I mean, literally on Christmas Eve, the market was only open a half a day, and it was bloody. Right here. But then he came out and said, we're going to ease up on the rate hikes, and then boom, right back to bullish. Go right back to being bullish. I was trading this. I remember it like it was yesterday. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. He has been a very good market participant friendly. I like him. So that was the one and only time where he had to kind of backtrack. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't see cuts in September either, although 6-1 probability says, yeah, you're right. The probability says there will be a rate cut in September. That's all I'm going by. I don't have a secret. I don't know secrets that you don't know. You got the same data I have. But just by the simple fact that they're in an easing cycle and they have already started to ease and they're sticking on that dovish path, right? They don't have to gun it with rate cuts. If they start gunning it, then that means something is wrong. But they have been neutral long enough. I think they can come in and give us at least 25 basis point. You don't even have to give it a full 25. You could do 15 for all I care. I don't even care if you cut, because I trade price. I am reactive to what price does. But it's just easier to be long in a bull market than it is to try to scalp around volatility, right? Just so much easier to buy pullbacks. Just is. So now we're seeing the S&Ps pull back a little bit deeper here. So he must have said something hawkish. Where do we think we could go here? Well, the VIX is testing the yearly opening range right now. We're into last week, so we're under Thursday's lows. Wednesday's lows are right there. So if it could push into this area down here, I would be a buyer again. I don't know that it will. This is the midpoint of that day. So there's your open, there's your close for that day. So you're like literally in the midpoint of that day. If we go into a 5-minute chart, you'll see that 50 easy right here. So we could take one shot at it right now and only risk 5 points. Only risk 5 points. See if we get a 10-point bounce. It's the midpoint of a random day. It's not the best level in the world, but I don't know that you're going to get all the way down to this daily low either. So I want to try to scalp out a few points here. I only risk 5 points on the ES because it makes it easier to get out on a 10-point gain. And if I miss, because 10 points are my scalp targets on the ES, so if I get stopped out, like if it moves 5 points lower and stops me out, then I can take one more shot at it. So if I miss that trade also, then I'm down 10 points on the day, which is no big deal because I'm already up on the week. I'm up on the week like 30 points. I took a 10-point scalp yesterday, made 10 points, got out. So I can risk 5 points to see if this midpoint wants to hold, knowing that this very same day's low is here, all the way down there. So we'll take this and see what we can get out of it. We're looking for 10 points. That was 10 points, but I didn't get filled to about right here. So I need a midpoint check on this candle to get out of my trade for another 10 points. We'll see if we get it. I probably should have been listening to the damn Fed. But also something to take of note, while I wouldn't just randomly buy this midpoint either if this wasn't happening on the big screen. You're literally testing the 2025 yearly opening range on the VIX. That's the 2025 yearly opening range. So that's the real reason for me taking the long scalp on the ES. That level, not the midpoint of some random Wednesday. But since that midpoint is there and the low is all the way down there, couple that with the year open test, it's a very valid scalp to take. I just don't know if that could be too much momentum. To the downside, you're cooking with grease here. That's a lot of Momo. $44. We start making fresh lows and I'm gonna have to bounce. We got 15 seconds left on this close, so I'm not gonna bounce just yet. This thing could close and then immediately head to the upside. Let's see what it does here. We'll watch this little 30-second chart. This is a new 5-minute candle open right here. We don't want to see candles closing under this. Okay, so you do got a deeper close here. So if you don't take out this candle's high, you could just exit. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. You're still super, super oversold here though. But you could stay oversold for the rest of the day. It does look like it's going to make a fresh daily low. So I'm going to lose this scalp. Hang on. We're testing the yearly opening range right now. That was just poor execution on my end. I should have gotten in at this point. That was just a poor executed entry. My entry was too far up. I was too slow. Had I caught the low, I could have got out. It was a perfect 10-point move. 38 up to 50 is a 12-point move. Oh, that was just my bad. Poor execution. I'm out. Poor execution. Wait, I didn't get the fill. I didn't get the fill. So we're back up in this candle's range. I'm going to hold it. You should have filled me. You would have filled me on the low. You would have got me on the low tick. You market makers are stingy, bro. Stingy. Trying to push 1 more cent out of my tail. And that missed you on the fill. Now you might have to pay me. Because I damn sure sent the order. You just didn't fill it. I might get out of this with a profit. Look at this. Look at this. We need it to go. My entry is like right here. So I need a 53. 53 gives me a 10 point. Come on. Get up there. I could exit now with a break even. But we're bouncing off of that 25 yearly opening range. Off of it pretty good. I'll put that up real quick right here. It's bouncing off of it pretty good. Let's see if we can get 53. Just put a limit at 53 if you're scalping the futures. A limit at 53 to exit. Stop loss here. Because if it keeps coming down, then we're wrong. Because VIX can be extremely explosive. It can explode up through that level. Bitcoin at 115. Bitcoin going for the weekly lows, guys. Damn it. So this will be the first breakdown and potential close under support on Bitcoin. Here is your support. This is the level we're looking to buy if it gets down there. So this is the 30-minute Bitcoin chart. This is the daily. You can see you're pushing into the midpoint here on the RSI, the 50. So this could be a support. This could be a bear trap. So tonight, you will watch the close of this candle. And then when you open the new daily at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, you will look for a wick under during the Asian session open under today's low. And then look for a bounce back up into the range. If you get that, that could be a buying op on Bitcoin for this to potentially be a trap. Now, when the Asian session opens, if you push deeper under yet today's low, it's downside continuation. You got to leave it alone. All right. But I have bought these 50 tests before on Bitcoin, and occasionally they do work, especially when Bitcoin structure is bullish. I just have too many trades open already to manage down here. I mean, we're cooking with grease on the hype coin. We got a $500 profit on the Pingu. We got a $200 profit, and we're pushing into the 450 range on the W. So we're good on the short side, right? We're good. So me trying to scalp this long ES here. This is also your previous week's midpoint. I knew it was Wednesday's midpoint. I didn't know it was the previous week's midpoint. So good on that indicator. Whoever gave me that, I'm so glad you brought that to my attention. Because I can just leave it on. This is an 8 chart setup up here. You guys can only see 6 charts. Well, 4.5 charts. No, that'd be 5 charts if you count these 2 halves. But there's 2 more charts on the other side of it. It's a big widescreen monitor. I use it for 2 monitors. I throw my Discord up on one monitor and then use this other side over here for some other things. And then I got 3 27-inch monitors below it. So I got monitors for days. I'm good on the monitors. We're getting the push up on the ES. We need a 53 to get a fill on the long side scalp. And there it is. So another 10 points to add to the week. And we're out. Bam. That's how you do it. That's how we do it. Just kidding. But it is how we do it, really. Legitimately. And we're done. I don't give a shit what it does now. Well, 40 points on the week on the ES. Haven't missed one yet this week. Damn, son. Smoking it. Crushing the alts, too. Crushing alts. Crushing the ES. Crushing everything we trade except Intel. It crushed us. Damn earnings. You freaking piece of garbage. I knew I shouldn't have bought you. I let Brian talk me into that. Brian, it's your fault. I'm kidding. It's always my fault. I took the risk. I just know Brian loves trading this thing. I hate it. I absolutely despise it. It's a chip company. It should be making billions of dollars. You should be printing money, bro. What's wrong with you? So I took a loss on this one. But everything else has been straight. Hit. We giving it to them. Fartcoin trying to bounce here a little bit after making fresh daily lows. Poor Fartcoin. No! You were supposed to stay bullish. It's alt season for F's sake. I honestly believe that we've lost the midpoint of last month's range too, guys. No, we have. This is looking rough. Oh no, not last month's range too. Come on. Now it literally means that if you were a buyer in June, your position is being threatened. That sucks. Monthly support is here. It is under it. That's no bueno. Don't want to see that. I mean, I don't care because I don't own it. I only scalp it. I only trade it. I don't own alts. Is it NFP Friday? It is. This Friday will be the monthly opening range for August and NFP. Yes, sir. Yep, it will. Bitcoin Jedi said Powell is super hawkish over there in that meeting. Yeah, we kind of figured that, seeing how we're smoking the profits. Yeah, we kind of figured that. Got a little bit of a hawkish lean, does he? Well, I'm sure Trump will give him a call tonight. What's oil doing? Oil is ripping. Oil's coming into a very, very, very big level that I would be interested in shorting. Oil's getting a bullish bid right now, I think. Probably because the dollar is. But Mr. Drill Baby Drill himself is in the office. So, yeah, we want to see if this wants to find some res here. Now, it's into a monthly supply zone. I'm not going to short that level. But it is an objective level. It is monthly supply. However, I'm going to need to see a little bit more data, right? I need to see how this thing closes tonight. If we close like butted up against that level, I don't necessarily want to hold that short, right? If we reject this level hard and start like showing some momentum on the very near term, like this, if it can hold that, then yeah, maybe we could take a short on oil. I only have the small account pulled up, so I'm gonna have to trade the micro CLs, the MCLs, the micro contracts, and the futures on this The options on futures is very illiquid. I traded this once before and got wrecked. So I think I'll sit this one out. If I had my main account pulled up, I closed it down already. If I had that thing pulled up, then I would take a short on spot price on the futures contract. Just the main CL/CL. But I don't have that pulled up. I basically just pull my small accounts up for the live stream because the amount of money I make is it doesn't matter. It's not going to help you guys see me knocking back $10,000 trades because if you don't have that kind of money, it's going to not help you. It's a lot more helpful, I think, me showing you that you can trade literally with $200 and pull $300, $429 of profit off of a $300 position, right? $147 profit off of a $200 position. I took profits, so it's only a $94 position right now, and we're still 151%. Here on height, a $280 position. This trades up 165%. All this money together is a total unrealized gain of $929. That's unrealized. All right, I have realized $804, and total P&L or total money used to bank that was $600 right at. A little bit less than, or right around. You don't need a lot of money to make a lot of money in trading. But it is sexy showing 10K and 20 and 100K P&Ls. I get it. But it isn't going to help you. No matter how much money I make, it isn't going to help you at all. But what will help you is me taking real live money trades with you, so that way I can't back out and say, oh, we did great last week, when we didn't. Because you know we didn't, right? So it's called accountability. The amount of money is useless. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's 20 cents or 20 million. The practice, that's what matters. The process, that's what matters. The strategies, that's what matters. The money comes once you become a better trader, once you start managing your emotions better, stop over trading, stop revenge trading. Once you start doing it right with a rules-based system and apply to those rules, stick to those rules, the P&L will grow. You will make money. You will make money. The money will come. Cue the dump. Yeah, Bitcoin did dump pretty good. That did help some of these alts. Let's see, which one should I close? Probably that hype, since that one's struggling a little bit. Oh, wait. Not closing it yet. We just got what we wanted. That's what we wanted. We wanted a rejection here. I didn't want it to break back into there, because then I was going to have to close it. But this, I don't like this. I don't like this reaction. Since the VIX is bouncing off of that yearly opening range, this might be a buying opportunity on some of these things. The markets are bullish, guys. They're not bearish. They're bullish. We should be buying something. Well, we did. We bought the S&P. We should have, damn it. We should have bought Bitcoin too. Because that's a buying opportunity on the VIX. For sure. I mean, you got to buy pullbacks in a bull market to get long, right? The last time we had a pullback, we filled this gap up here. That's what we were waiting for. It just happened so quick, we missed it. But look at the downside continuation you got had you gotten long ES here. So now here, you're getting another pullback. It's another buying opportunity. That's what you got to do in bullish markets. You got to buy the dip. BTFD. You got to buy the dip. That's not buy the dip. Where's buy the dip? I know it's on here. There it is. BTFD, baby. Go away, Elon. BTFD. It's actually not buying the dip on that. You would be buying the dip on this. You would be selling the VIX. Yeah, of course we don't know if it's going to hold or not, but that's how you position yourself in a bullish market. Now, with the Fed being hawkish, according to Brandon, the Fed is hawkish today in the speech. He's got a speech impediment. Damn Fed. I'm freaking up 107% on Fartcoin short, blowing his mind. Lifestyle Media saying he was wanting to make money this week, and he's making money this week. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Good stuff, man. Love sitting in the green. Thanks so much for your efforts, bro. Appreciate you. You are welcome, my friend. You are welcome. You are welcome. I'm glad you were able to catch it. He doesn't appreciate the pressure from Trump, for show. Yeah. Would you? I mean, if you were a rich man, like Jerome Powell is, very rich. Jerome Powell made his money in Wall Street. So Jerome Powell understands Wall Street. All right? He is wealthy. A wealthy old white man. And now he's the Fed chair. You wouldn't appreciate it either. You'd be like, bitch, I already made my money, son. You know better than me. You might have a little bit more money than me. You might be in a little bit higher office than me, but I'm the Fed chair. Who you think you talking to? I can imagine that conversation. And then Trump would just be like, dude, the Secret Service is my backup. Who's yours? And then Powell would have to say something like, you got me there. All right, I'll cut. It's all gangster stuff. Of course, Powell is hawkish, says DC. It's NFP Friday. Yeah, we answered that. NFP this Friday. Yeah, so that's going to be another big data point. Let's see what they're saying. Expectations for unemployment is an uptick, 4.2%. We had a 4.1% read last month. So expectations are that this Friday we're going to get a 4.2% on unemployment. That would be a 0.1% uptick. That would be, so 4.2 or higher would be a miss. That would be bearish for the near term. But we don't know that the market will treat that as a bearish. They go through all the numbers, not just the unemployment and the NFP. You also have ISM manufacturing's coming out at 10. So lots of data on Friday. You got PCE tomorrow. Core PCE. That's the Fed's preferred inflation data. Oh, wait. Am I saying that wrong? Am I wrong on that? No, yeah. PCE is inflation. PPI is different. The PPI and PCEs, sometimes I get mixed up. It's inflation data. Thursday. We got inflation data Thursday and then NFP Friday. Big, huge week for breakouts and yeah, for everything. For dumps, for breakouts, for all of it. That's why we were wanting to trade this week for sure. And we wanted to do it live. Make money together. It's the best way. What's Tesla doing? I haven't looked at it in a while. Oh, it's still in the middle of that damn range. What are you doing, Tesla? I thought you wanted to be bullish, bro. You called me up and said you wanted to be bullish, and you changed your mind. Yeah, it doesn't look like it wants to hold that, but there's a 100 EMA down there on the daily as well. We might as well find out where the 200 is since we're seeing where the 100 is. right down there at that triangle. So that's why you bounced. I never knew that was there. That's why we bounced the last time we broke down. If it breaks down again, there is a bigger move on Tesla expected. I would expect a 270, at least 279, probably 271 target if you break down out of this formation. Similar to like gold, but gold broke down. What's it doing now? Ooh, told you. Big breakdown. Downside continuation. There's a larger time frame target on this. There it goes. Big measured move here, guys. So hopefully you took part in this. We called this out before it ever broke down. We called it out when it was testing the top side. It's got a measured move down to 286. Well, it's actually a little lower, but my downside target is May's low. That's it. Nothing more. Okay? We called this out before it ever got up into there. And we called it out on the day it was doing it. So that's when you should have been taking notice. And if you didn't take notice then, you definitely should have taken notice when you broke out. Because now you're seeing downside continuation. This might cause Bitcoin to bounce. We'll see. Bitcoin could be putting in lows now. It doesn't look like it. If that VIX continues to melt, I would have a bullish bias on Bitcoin. That's pretty much melting. Will it stay melting though? That's the thing. It needs to stay melting. How freaking hawkish was he, man? I can't imagine that it wants to push back up into that. That's a great reaction off of that level. And what's our USDJPY? Oh, it's trying to stop us out. You son of a biscuit. Yeah, DXY is still pushing up. DXY is not a liquidation break. It's pushing up so strong, it's going to make that liquidation break the midpoint. The midpoint, man. Oh, sorry. The liquidation was here. It's trying to make that the midpoint of the daily range. It could push up all day and then tomorrow sell back off and get back into the range and become more range bound, but we'll see. We'll see what it does. I'm not expecting the dollar to reverse. It did already, right? But I'm not expecting it to continue. You might get a measured move out of this breakdown. I don't know if you could call this a descending wedge because it just didn't fill out enough, maybe, right? But if it does, if you do get a measured move out of it, you could look for something like this. So back up to the 2024 yearly opening range, and then I expect it to go right back into the range. But that will be later on. That will be later on. For the month of August, it could probably stay bullish for the first part of August, and then maybe start to look for that retracement around the midpoint of August. We'll see. We'll see what we got when we get there. But Bitcoin's testing the 21 EMA, so that's a bullish opportunity. He probably said a few things that were hawkish, but the longer the meeting goes on, the more questions it gets asked, he'll probably back off. I mean, that's what he normally does. He normally doesn't reveal anything that we didn't already know. The reporters try to push him and get him to answer questions that we don't know the answers to, but he rarely ever gives up. He rarely ever gives them the answer. He holds his ground pretty firmly. It helps you. Yeah, making money helps everybody. I'll cheers to that. Gladiator level earnings. I'll get there. Yeah, and you don't need a lot of money to do it either. So just remember to keep your losses small. That's the key. Because when you're right on direction, you will get the gains. It's keeping the losses small. That's what you need to practice. Crucial. I bought the biddy. I hope it bounces for you. I'm going to wait for the close and see if I can get in on a better position, like maybe a lick run, and then buy that lick low. If it gets a lick low, you might not. I mean, if the VIX continues to push down, and it is, this might be the low. You might open the fresh daily and just go back up. Not during the Asian session. I wouldn't expect a full-on reversal of this daily range inside of the Asian session, but depending on where the daily candle closes will dictate whether or not they want to make a push to the lows or not. But there's the VIX. I mean, that looks good. And then this is what it looks like. So far, lower high. That's right where you bounced it. Bounced it right off of that. The midpoint. It is not rocket science, guys. You can do this with a double-digit IQ. You can. You do not need to be a rocket scientist. You just got to manage your money better. That's all. That's all it's about. Especially if you're scalping with me. I mean, damn, you're going to be getting so many opportunities to potentially catch big trades where you're in them for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't need to close that ES scalp. I could have bought a call or something like that and just held it for the rest of the week. Because if we get a miss, or I mean a beat on NFP, say the unemployment number comes in at 4.0, that would be a beat on NFP. This thing could be down into 14s Friday morning if you get a big beat. I doubt you'd be in the 14s. That would be a big move. But I mean, we've already been in the 14s. We were in 1479 here. So yeah, you could get right back into that region on a good beat, a good strong beat on NFP. And then like a 50 on that ISM. They're forecasting a 49.5. So if you got 50 and higher, that would be good. ISM is also a number that the NBER looks at to classify a recession. So the fact that it's above 49, that's good. That's not terrible. Let's pull this chart up. Let's see, where are you? There you are. Yeah, you're around the bottom edge. These are like when you're starting to talk recessionary territory. These big spikes. 2020 spike, that was recessionary. This trend is not recessionary. To be fair though, for the recessionary crowd, you are trending down on the year. So that's not great news. But this is just one of 5 indicators that they look at. One of 5. NFPs look good. NFPs do not look nowhere near like a recession. These are a little bit closer to recessionary numbers. Yeah, NFP's okay. Okie dokie. looking good. Within the norm of normal operating conditions. Looks like Fartcoin struggling to push under that 4% down marker. We'll see if we get downside continuation here. You are getting a lower push on the ES, back down to the previous week's midpoint. So Fartcoin may continue to run lower today. We'll see. Man, that yearly opening range is right there. I did not think it would get back down there. Book of Meme made fresh lows but bounced back up into the daily range. This is another one that is a little bit weak on the month. You're more than well into the short signal here. There was your short signal breakdown right there. Breaking back under the July volume weighted average price. Losing that. Continuation. But this is like when you don't want to buy, right? When you're getting a breakdown and then you get downside continuation. Because this could stretch out still for the rest of the day. This could just keep going down. And then with Fartcoin, we didn't really see a big move lower until 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock is right around the corner. I can pull up the hourly chart. We'll look at that 4 o'clock candle right here. Boom. That's next hour. 21 minutes until we get that candle. Oh, so when the US market sells off like this, do we expect more downside because Japan and Australia will react to our news? Not necessarily. When you're in a bullish market condition, you look to be a buyer as support, not a seller into support. You want to be a seller when the markets are selling off. Guys, I know it's so sexy to be short these markets at all-time highs. I get it. It looks great when you can show that on Twitter and brag about how great of a trader you are because you nailed the short at the highs. I get it. I do. I've done it a million times. I've posted a million trades like that. It is sexy. But when you're in an uptrending market condition like this, you need to be a buyer at support. Because even if you did short this, when the buyers step back up, which they will, especially if the NFP numbers are good, you'll make fresh all-time highs potentially. These shorts will get stopped out. Whereas the longs are still good. Like every dip buy has been every single dip has been a buy. Every single one. These people are getting long on the sell-offs. You know, when retail wants to short, these people are buying it. And they're staying in continuation trades. Whereas retail is shorting, and then nailing one, and then getting stopped out the next day. You see what I'm saying? Like, you want to trade with the trend, with the market conditions. The overall macro is bullish. Even if this continues to sell off today, even if it breaks down through here, that will buy a buying opportunity. This is your July volume weighted average price. So you're not threatening anything here. If you look at this monthly candle, it's late month. You're in July. Here's July's candle, right? This is a pullback. You got profit taking happening. That is all. This is not a short signal yet. This is not a weakness yet. This isn't saying anything. Anybody that bought July's open is still holding longs. Some people are taking profits. but it's late month. You're getting ready to open up in August. I know the statistics. August and September are historically weak months. I get it. But we can go back just for the last few years here if you want and check all the August candles. Here's an August candle. That's up. It closed up. Not very much up from the open, and you did get a deep correction in August, but it closed up on the month. There's an August pullback candle. That wasn't at all-time highs either. Here's an August pullback candle during the bear market, so duh. Yeah, that's when you want to be a seller, when you're in a bear market, right? You get a monthly candle that looks like that in August, then we'll talk. I'll be short right along with you guys, right? If macro conditions start to tighten up, and say we go on from here, from this point forward, and we do all of August, there's nothing but the news talking about potential rate hikes coming. Well, of course, that's going to fear the market. That'll put fear into the market. Then we'll talk about it. But for right now, yeah, here's an up closing August candle at all-time highs. This is what your July candle looks like. You're just pulling back off the highs late month. No big deal. That is standard, normal price action. Here's another all-time high in August. I'm not going to keep doing this all day, but you get the point. Like, it's hit or miss. This thing is flying to the upside. This is bullish AF. Not bearish. So you typically want to be a buyer at support. So this is why I draw these lines up for you guys every single week. That's why I have them going back all the way to, when did I start drawing them? December 2023. Every week's expected move is on this chart. That's why I keep it ugly like this. So that way you can see. You can back test it. You can look back and see. Should I have been a seller here? No. Absolutely not. And it came off of a big bearish day. So on this day right here, you were actually under the VWAP. This day would, in my opinion, would have been a more of a bearish signal than this. And it was bought up. This whole week was bearish, and then Friday, that's Monday, sorry. This whole week was bearish, but didn't amount to anything. The very next week, whoever got short on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday got stopped out the following Monday. That happens over and over and over again. I promise you, anybody that got short yesterday or today will more than likely get stopped out again before this year is over. I wouldn't doubt it if they don't get stopped out on Friday. I wouldn't doubt it if we wake up tomorrow and this thing's gapping up here. Wouldn't doubt it at all. You're testing the yearly opening range on the VIX. On the VIX. It's failing at the year open. That is not bearish. Above that, and we can talk. Because we already filled that upside gap. So if you're above this, then we can talk about potentially looking for shorts. But under it, nah. Under it, it's a buy. It's a buy, it's a buy, it's a buy. In my opinion, I don't want you to go out there and buy with everything you got, the S&Ps right now, because I said it's a buy. Clearly, it can keep going lower. I'm just saying, you got to learn to change your mindset. You got to stop trying to catch the shorts and look to buy the longs, because you're going to get in a long one of these times. You're going to get it. You're going to catch it, right? And you're going to be in that trade for potentially weeks. Whereas where you can catch a short, maybe stay in it for 2 days, if you're lucky. It makes more sense to be bullish, not bearish. But it's sexy to be the bear. Like Theo Trade, that guy that runs Theo Trade, Don Kaufman. I follow him on, he's a real trader. He's been trading since the 90s. The dude has like a huge house in Arizona that's got a full-size gym in it. Like he's got a downstairs gym in his house that is the size of the gym in the Publix Plaza right next to me. You know what I mean? It's like that big. He's got all that equipment in his house because he's a sell side only trader though. He's always bearish, always. But he's always wrong. Now, when he is right though, he makes up for all the times when he's wrong. And he don't just short the market. He likes to stay on the sell side and he likes to act bearish in every upload, but he's not short in every upload. He's also, he's trading the ranges. He's doing what I'm doing. He's doing it with options though, so he's using a lot of leverage. He's making a lot of money when he's right. But when he is right, like stuff like this, he makes an absolute killing because he holds them. He holds those trades with conviction and he milks them for every penny. So he can be wrong literally all year and still be fine because of the money he made this year or over here at the beginning of the year. He can be wrong for the rest of the year and still be good. Look at the size of this downside move in comparison to this. Yeah. Like I'm saying, guys, this ain't bearish. This is bearish. That's almost one time framing bearish. There's 1 day right here that I can see that you did not get the one time framing aspect on this chart. Every other candle all the way to here is a one time framing candle. That's how weak this chart was back then. That's different. I'll miss maybe 3 days of this before I start getting in on this action. I'm a pro. But right now is not the time for it, I'm telling you. But when you start one time framing, all that means is every single candle is making a lower high than the previous candle. Like, here's a high, right? That's a lower high, then another lower high, then another lower high, then another lower high, and then you broke it here. Then another lower high, then another lower high, then you broke it here. You start doing that, then we'll talk about looking for shorts. Look at Fartcoin. Lower high, lower high, lower high, period of consolidation, then you took it out. This was a liquidation run above the highs. We smoked it. We shorted it. Looking for this to continue. This is bearish. You took out 1, 2, 3, 4 days of 5-day lows. 5 days of lows in 2 days of downside. Woo! Right? We start seeing something like that, we'll talk. What have we done here? We've taken out 1, 2, 3, 4 days of lows. That's it. You still got to take this day's low out for me to even consider this as bearish. And that's a buying opportunity because that's where the option market is pricing the low of the week. The option market is saying there's a high probability that price will not go lower than this week. Now, occasionally they're wrong, but not really that often in a bull market. Here they were wrong. But even then it was a buying op. So even if they're wrong this week, it'll be a buying op in a couple more days. It just pays better to be long in bullish markets. It's just so much easier. All you literally got to do is buy it and then turn the computer off. And as long as you don't get stopped out and you start one time framing to the upside, you're good. You're going to hold it all year. So much easier to make money. Just buy and hold. So much easier. When you're trying to pick somewhere to get a new trade in every day, you're going to be dealing with intraday volatility. You're going to be dealing with that crazy chaotic price action that's impossible to judge. It's much easier when you look out from a higher time frame area. So like this low is just a random week Wednesday. It's not even the weekly low. This is last week's low down here. I would definitely be a buyer there. You kidding me? That's a weekly low, the previous week's low. We liquidate that, get back in that range, I'm buying it. I'll be a buyer. We're maybe testing the midpoint of the week. We are testing the midpoint of the week on the CFD product. Right there it is. There's your previous week's midpoint. Testing it. As long as that holds, this market's still bullish. Your VIX is rolled over, made a lower high on the day. The market's getting ready to close in 8 minutes. This looks like garbage. Looks like garbage. But if Bitcoin holds here, then the dollar might roll over. You can't see the dollar. It's over there. So if Bitcoin holds, this might still be safe. It might still be safe. I don't know. It'll be the last time I attempt the short on USD JPY for probably a good week. Because if that trend continues, guys, there is a potential huge move to catch on that. Same with, it's like kind of the same as the GLD and what we're looking for on Tesla, like those bigger, broader market moves, those big shifts in sentiment. When you can catch those kinds of trades, you can potentially get in it and set in it for the rest of the year. And that trend is down. It's not down since 2023, but it is down this year. So we are looking for that to continue. I just don't know that it will. I set stops with 1 or 2% like you do. That's the best way to do it. When I'm scalping, I won't even, like on the alts, sometimes I won't even let it get to a full stop. I'll just close it. If it ain't acting the way I want it to act quick, I'll just take a $20, $30 loss on it and look to re-enter it. Maybe even go the opposite way. Like that's how we caught that Fartcoin short. The second one, not the first one. The first one we took on a members only live stream. That was the perfect short. Like you could have entered that one and still been sitting in it. And with the funding rate, the longs pay the shorts right now on Fartcoin. So you would have also got paid just to set in the short. Yeah, that W trade is right back up again. I should have closed that. So we've lost a couple $100 worth of unrealized gains because they're bouncing. Let's go look at them. So that's a big bounce. That's a big bounce. I don't like that. Support is here. If it doesn't hold at 4-hour support on a closing basis here in 5 minutes, I'm probably exiting this trade. You got 3 minutes left on this close. This looks like a downside rejection. Fart coin also looking like a downside rejection here. Yeah, I don't like this. The overall market's bullish. Keep that in mind. BOEM is straight up back to bullish. This thing's saying, screw you, bears. What's hype doing? Oh no, I'm afraid to look. Ah, damn it. We're still making money, but it was a lot nicer when it was down here. We're still more than well up on the day. We're good. We've still got $621 of unrealized gains. We're still doing good, but damn it, it sucks. That number's going backwards for sure. I would like this to hold at some point. What is up with this? Huh. I don't like that. Alt season might have just started right back up again. Alt season might have just fired right back up again. Look at that volume. I don't know. It looks like heavy volume started coming in once you started running the fresh daily lows. I don't like that at all. Please, let's see what this looks like. Oh, that still looks okay. I don't like this. This is like a poor low. I'm glad this didn't rotate down to there. That would look real bad. So this might still ultimately roll over. I mean, it's still down 2.7% on the daily range, so it's a big bounce. But damn, it don't look great. When the bears are in control, man, you don't usually get those big ass bounces like that. We'll see what it does. That's what I want, says Lifestyle Media. Yep. You'll get there. Just keep practicing. Asking about a short term, like the remainder of the day, if that makes a difference. You got to take profits. You just do. When you're in a bull market, when the altcoins obviously aren't going to act exactly like the S&P 500, right? But when you're in an overall bullish market condition, which you are in alt season, right? Right now, you're still in alt season. I don't know what. Oh, we're not on the right. Your Bitcoin dominance chart is still. It's forming a range at the lows. A larger time frame range. It's late month. You're getting ready to open a new month. So if you open a new month Friday and this thing starts to take back off to the downside, I'm going to have a long bias on alts again. Okay? The overall market conditions are bullish, so looking for shorts isn't the play to make. Looking for longs is. Getting long is the play to make. At support. And that's a close. That is a close. That's a higher close than the previous candle. I don't like that at all. You made a fresh lower low. That's a bullish engulfing at support at June's open. I don't love that. This is telling me that the shorts back foots are up against, or they got their backs against the wall. They are back stepping hard here. It could still roll over, but that's a big range downside candle there. There's your bounce. This candle should have gave us downside continuation. We didn't get downside continuation. We got a downside push with an upside continuation close. That's a bullish engulfing at support. So I'm going to close that W out. That's the one that's got a big position size on it. So it'll literally get smoked quick if it keeps going up. That's the one that's closest to price. Because I got that by re-entering with a full-size position. It brought my cost basis all the way down to the top of this wick. But my entry's just sitting right there. After seeing that kind of a move, knowing that price is right back to my entry, this is what I was talking about. This is usually what happens to shorts in a bull market. You take the trade, and then whether it's a day later, the same day, or the next day, price is coming right back up to smoke you. When you're right, you get continuation. As long as this thing is trading above this candle's close, my position is being threatened. So how long do I set in this and just let it keep pushing? That looks like a full-on reversal to me. That is a full-on reversal. So you got to take profits when you jump in these shorts, especially when the market's bullish. Look at that VIX, guys. Look at that. Told you. When the market's bullish, you buy support. So I'll close the W because that one's being threatened. The other two are not being threatened at all. So we'll take that money and run. We'll take that. So that's going to make us up total on that trade $557 because we booked $400 worth of gains on it already. And then the Pingu short is, it's such a small position. I've already taken $150 of profit on it. I got $111 of profit unrealized on it, but it closed differently. Let's look at that one. So that way you can see the difference here. Notice this one hasn't given all that back. And also look at your close on the 4 hour, because that's what we just closed, a 4 hour candle. You still closed under support. I don't love it that it's got this long of an upside wick on it. So I will close this one too if it starts to push above this candle's close here, because that's a supply zone. So if it pushes up into that and starts to make a run above this candle's close, I will exit this trade too. Because like I said, we could be on the wrong side here. This is an uptrending market. This one is not weak like Fartcoin was. And just because Fartcoin gave back all of July's gains, it doesn't mean it's going to keep it like that. I doubt you got big buyers stepping up, but you could have them front running August's open, if that's what they're anticipating. So something like that could be taking place here, or like I said, they could roll right back over, but it's too risky at this point to let all my unrealized gains go bye-bye. So my job as a trader isn't just looking for great places to take entries. My job is also managing the money that I make when I am right and knowing when to close it when I could be wrong. You've been oversold on the 4 hour chart on Fartcoin since this candle. So for 2 solid days. I don't love shorting that. This is a good short. Not this. bullish. Look what they did to it when they traded back into the 50. They bought it. Then you got another test of it, but it was higher. They bought it again. So the opposite is happening here. You broke down through here, you broke the 50, you lost the 50. Then you pushed into almost oversold territory. Then you retraced back up into the 50. That's where the sellers were. That's where we were. Right back down it goes. So now this is long in the tooth, right? Like it's been going down for a long time. You've given back all of July's gains. So the short side's been made for this month. The next time that this will be a short again is when you're retesting this. And it just depends on how fast it gets there. Like if you get there in one candle, then I would say you probably don't want to short that. But if it takes a long time to get there, then maybe that will be a new short opportunity. But we'll have to give it time to wait and see. So we're going to wrap it up here because I got a few things I got to do. I got to go get dinner and stuff like that. But here's what we're setting on. Okay, we're going into this looking like this. We've already made money. Once again, that's very important because that is how it's easier for me to let this money go, right? Because I've already made, I cannot lose on the trade. It's impossible to lose. So I can hold this one because it's impossible to lose. I can lose this $100, but I can't lose money on the trade. And this one is still looking okay for now. See how weak this one is? This one's showing a little bit more weakness than the fart coin and the W. The W is full on a bullish reversal. Right here. That's completely different than what we got here. But this one has meaning. This one's not an alt. I mean, it's not a meme token. This is an exchange who makes money. So this one is a little bit more risky to hold. So I'm going to move my stop down to protect half of these gains. Half. So we just pull this down to about there. So you can see where the green line is. That's the current price. This is my stop. There's my entry. So that's about half. But I've already booked $200. So what I could ultimately do also is shrink the position size by booking a little bit more of these gains and then just leave my stop at break even for the longer term rollover. So either way, it's about the same, right? It's about the same because no matter what I do, I'm going to keep half of this 360. So I'm okay with that. But that's just two ways to manage winners. Manage the winners while you have the money to manage. Don't let it go all the way back against you, ever. You never have to let a green trade turn red. When you let a green trade turn red, that is 1-800 your fault. Yo fault. 1-800 yo fault. So don't do that. All right. Is there any other questions? Does anybody else have any questions? And if not, we'll wrap this beast up. So we made money. US 100. All right. The US 100, that's the NASDAQ, but it's the CFD product. We'll just look at capital.com. Boom. Buy the dip. Buy the dip. Yeah. That's why I bought it. I bought the S&P. I wasn't trying to short it in a bull market. I'm trying to get long. Now it was just a scalp, so I took the gains off. But I'm already holding long calls and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm golden on the upside. But for the scalp, I look to buy these dips. Because when you get in them, you can stay in them longer. It just works out better because that's the direction the market's going. So you just made fresh all-time highs on the NASDAQ today, just now. Like, you got fresh all-time highs. So everybody went from being super bearish because of Powell's hawkish testimony, and I remained firm, saying, no, this is not a short. And look what it's doing. Yeah, buy the dips, guys. Buy the dips. That's all I can say. All-time highs. Now, the ES, I don't think has done that yet. But it probably ain't far behind. Not freaking bad. Not bad at all. Damn, did we low tick that? No. Yeah, we did. We held it through that, didn't we? Yes, we did. We got out on this. I don't remember. No, we got out on this. Sorry. It was 43 or 53 is what I got filled at. 53. So we did low ticket almost, right? We got it in here. We got it in here because we got out at 53. 53 is 10 points, so we got in at 43. So we almost low ticked it and exited here on the 53. Boom, out. 10 points. Clearly holding it would have been the better call, but it is what it is. It was just the scalp. I was risking 5 to make 10, and it worked. We're good to go. Good to go. GLD still pushed lower all day. Closing weak. That's why I said Bitcoin might be a buy there, because XAU was continuing to roll over. And Bitcoin's putting in a wick like that. So Bitcoin was a buy. You will most likely not be back to these lows at the Asian Open. Considering what the NQ has done and what the ES is trying to do right this second, I wouldn't doubt it if this doesn't slowly meander up all the way to the close of the day. I don't know that will happen. So don't be a buyer here. You're already exhausted or pretty close to exhausted on the small time frames. Yeah, you've been overbought for a long time here on the minute chart. So be careful buying up here. Wait for a pullback. Next level to watch will be the 618. I don't have an objective level in this garbage. But this is last week's fib. So it's about as objective as you can get. It's from low to high. That is an objective price point. I just don't know that it'll hold support. But everything looks good. Did I enter the TRX yesterday? No. And here's the thing. I tried to enter that. And I kept getting a rejection for whatever reason. It kept telling me that the minimum was so-and-so. So, like, I was trying to get in it, but it kept telling me that the minimum sell was, it wouldn't tell me the number. Like, whatever position size that I was trying to short it with, it would not allow me to take it. So, and it did the same thing on the other one that you guys told me to look at, that pump dot, what was it, pump dot fun or whatever. I don't know if it's pump dot fun or I don't know if these are the same things. The tickers are the same. But anyway, I tried to enter this too, and it did the same thing. So I don't know if my weeks could have been down for, you know, they go down sometimes. These exchanges go down because they got a patch code, right? So there could have been a code being patched or something. But I did try to take the short on TRX and that pump. And both times I got that error message. Error. Minimum sell size. Or something like that. It wouldn't give me any number. It just would. I tried to lower it and raise it up. I tried 3 times. And I got rejected all 3 times. So I said, screw it. I don't know what it was. Yeah. But here's the thing. When I logged on to the exchange today, I got a pop-up message saying your funds have been moved. All positions were closed and your funds were moved, but they weren't. So, I don't know. Sounds like patchwork to me. Yeah, in my experience, they were doing a patch. And that's all. They wouldn't let me open a new position. They did not force close any of my positions, though. Which I didn't have but 2 open. It wouldn't have been, I was up on them. So even if they would have forced closed them, it would have been fine with me. But yeah, that's about it. Everything else is looking, you know, we'll see what we got going into tomorrow. We got PCE data at 8:30. I don't know that I'll go live that early. My girl will still be sleeping more than likely at that time, and my office is right next to my bedroom, and I have a very deep, loud voice. So I talk kind of loud so that way you guys can hear me fine, and that will wake her up, and I don't want to wake her up. I like to let her get her sleep. So, but it depends. Like if it comes out and it's a big miss and things start moving a lot, I will. But if things are just being normal, we'll wait till the normal 9:15 to go live. All right. All right. You guys have a fantastic rest of your evening. Make sure you guys trade safe, trade smart. And as always, happy trading, everybody.